Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. John, myself, Fox, you're on the show this evening. Is it one and only Jaffa? Evening, Jaffa.
How you doing, Ox? How are you, pal?
I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. I've came to terms with flaws and deficiencies, and I'm liking the manager. How are you?
Absolutely similar, Ox. Yep. Last night's performance, no doubt, we'll cut the bones out as we go through the show. But at the end of the day, Ox, we could have stole it. We could have went away with 3 points with some cracking chances, didn't we? To take all 3 points. So overall, I think did Philippe Clement, did he navigate his way through that tie last night? Certainly looks that way with some of the tactics that he deployed.
Yeah, well, we'll start with a game, right? But I'll put a challenge to you. £100 every time you mention Dessers, right?
I'll not be very often.
All right, okay. I've given my thoughts, Jaffa. The floor's yours, mate.
Just doesn't look up to the job, Ox, does he? The ball doesn't stick. I think his positional strength is really disappointing, really poor. Couple of chances, times last night where, the ball he's not in the right position. He's not taking up the right position. Particularly in the second half when Raskin and Wynn, I remember he broke away, he intercepted the pass. Him and Lammers, they're running in the same line, Ox. They're not opening up the back four and taking one away and introducing Seaman. Yeah, it was bad decision making, and he's there's nothing to offer, Ox. There's nothing you can even say about it because he's not contributing. He's an empty jersey, in my opinion. I wouldn't start him.
Is that part of the problem then? Because with the ball's no sticking, we're not getting any respite, and then the ball's always got another way towards your goal.
Well, that was the case in the first half last night. In the few occasions that we got the ball up, he's not taking a defender out. He's no dragging a defender out of position. The ball's bouncing back off him. He's easy to play against. He's not particularly, even though he's quite a big lad, he doesn't use any of his body strength, to get
him a lot, mate.
Pushing. So from that perspective, I find it difficult to even see what I presume he's only getting a game now because we're down to the bare bones, Ox, as far as personnel goes. And he's probably, I suspect the manager's going with experience more than he's going with ability. He's just in the door and he'll be assessing everybody. But, I suspect last night the reason him and Lammers got a start was because of where the mess the squad's in, Ox, and with injuries and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the game itself then. By the way, I don't disagree with much of what you've said there. But let's move on to... We started well for about the first 4 minutes, and then nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden we put ourselves under pressure, and my goalie came to our rescue, Jaffa.
He did, Ox. They had a great chance, a great double save. Incidentally, that incident came for a poor kick out from Jack Butland, which that's something I've not seen in his locker at this stage. But it happened. I mean, you don't know. The park could have been bouncy, Ox. You're not there, so you're not getting a feel or a smell for how the ground looks and the condition it's in. But there'll be reasons for that because that's no Jack Butland. But the 2 saves he pulled off were crackers, Ox. Two brilliant saves. So and that really that then set the tone of the game after they got that opening, and it was a kind of constant wave after that of attacks, wasn't it?
I don't think they peppered their goal as much. Butland maybe had one other good save after that, mate. From memory, I'm trying to think back now. We didn't have much possession. We couldn't keep it. We weren't passing it when we had opportunities. We gave it away cheaply a lot, and put ourselves under pressure, Jaffa.
That's it. That was basically the kind of pattern of the first half, Ox. was they had the possession. They were coming down the flanks a lot, but they weren't, as you say, they weren't exactly creating clear-cut opportunities and shots on target. In fact, they only had 4 shots on target, although they had a lot of shots at our goal, but they only had 4 on target the whole game, which was the same as what we had. All of those instances were actually self-inflicted, Ox, because we just kept getting the ball back to them, and it wasn't just one player. Everybody was at it. You know, Lammers was doing it, Raskin was doing it, Cantwell was doing it. Dessers, as we touched on, he was just an empty jersey. I mean, essentially, we played with 10 men last night.
Yeah, I get it, mate. I get it. You know, so we're getting the ball away cheaply. We're looking a bit rusty. You know, I think there was one summed it up, and I think Raskin did a simple pass to Seema, and he passed it out of the park, mate. You know.
Yeah, I know it was bad, Ox. I mean, and again, you wonder what the reasons are for that. The setup didn't look alien in any way. It wasn't majorly different. Ben Davies came in for Barisic at left back, but it was still a 4 at the back, Ox. So it wasn't as if we were playing, a strange system in any way, shape or form. We just, for whatever reason, we just couldn't. And it wasn't that they were closing us down particularly quickly. We just couldn't make the ball stick, and we couldn't get a rhythm in any kind of form of passing. I felt quite sorry for Seema, to be honest with you, because he was completely. He was absolutely. He was up and down that park all night. To be fair to the big man, Todd Cantwell came into a wee bit of a game as well and got himself involved in it. But as far as Lammers and Dessers goes, I thought they were really poor.
The last time I seen a shift like that was you with the 2 go goals. Sorry, I'm not to mention that one. I forgot about that. Sorry. But I think the idea was we played the 3, they became tight. Tav and that came in, along with Seema, who's a centre forward, mate. So you've got to doff your hat to the lad. So we were then ending up with a 5 with the tight 3. Did that make sense, Jaffa?
Absolutely, that's exactly what was happening, Rox. I thought the game was crowded at that point.
And then, so in front of them, you'd Raskin and Lundstrom, and I thought Lundstrom done okay in the first half without being outstanding. I thought he'd done okay. Raskin gets the ball and reads the ball and he gives you endeavour, but his distribution's got to improve, mate. It's got to improve if he wants to stay in your team. Never mind get a move, So you end up, my problem with that is, you end up, when things aren't going well, 7 defenders. The goalkeeper's 8. Dessers is stoning up the tap, and what have you got? Cantwell and Lammers covering all that space. And when you get the ball, you clear it, it's always coming the one, mate. It's always coming back to you, mate. That's my problem.
That's what happened last night, essentially, Ox, because the other thing as well, when we did clear it, we were hoofing it into the sky. And that isn't Cantwell or Lammers' game. The 2 of them can't. They're not physical enough to do that. They need the ball on the deck. They need it on the grass. And that's exactly what was happening. And that was the major difference, the change that he made when he in the second half, was we pushed up and we opened up a wee bit more, and we actually all pushed up about 20 yards. And that seemed to do the trick, because it put the formation back into shape. And so that the structure was there, because there was no structure there in the first half. I mean, it was essentially us just sitting back, waiting and them attacking, and that's primarily what happened, Docs. That's why they had so much possession.
And I think we've got to give credit to some of the players, particularly Seema, because he's in the shift he put in. And the manager mentioned it last night, Jaffa, about the no time to work on it. 2 days on the grass between games, people injured, people getting injured will come to that, I'm sure. People playing in different positions, not getting a lot of options. There's not a lot of experience on the bench. So the manager was pleased with the application, maybe not the ability.
Yeah, absolutely, Ox. I mean, as the game progressed, as we'll cover and we'll get to, I mean, some of those players that we've just mentioned did actually come on to a decent game. I mean, even Tav was getting caught as well in the first half. In fact, as I said, I don't think Eb Golson was caught. Suter was caught. They were all getting misplacing passes, couldn't even get it to their man. So, but I think that's what the manager was alluding to at the end of the game. Ox was that he was pleased with the application. He wanted to win. He wanted the 3 points. And going by the law of chances, we probably had the best chance. I know they had a couple of decent chances, but we probably had the best chance from Danilo right at the end of the game. But as I said, I'm sure we'll come to that, pal.
So we're at half time, and I'm thinking we need a change of personnel, and I'm thinking Danilo for Dessers. I'm thinking maybe even Ryan Jack, to maybe give us 3 and you can push Cantwell for a forward. But ultimately, the manager got it right, mate. Because he changed how we played, as you're right, and pushed us up a wee bit. After the initial few minutes of the second half, we came into it. And at times, we played some decent stuff. We moved the ball right, and we made a lot of opportunities to score goals. We're shooting, apart from the nails, and Lammers had a decent effort. Good height for a goalie, but it was a decent effort to hit the target. We're shooting. It's pros, right, Raskin, Lundstrom was appalling, Jaffa.
Aye, it was, Ox. That was the only letdown last night, was the finishing. And that, you're right, that's exactly what happened in the second half. We brought on Scott Wright, we pushed up. He took off Cantwell, he brought on Scott Wright, and we pushed up the park. And essentially, we just went with Seam on the left and right, and that seemed to spook them. And we got the ball down on the carpet, pushed everybody up 20 yards. Raskin and Lundstrom came into the game. Tavernier was getting up the park, and all of a sudden, they didn't have a clue what to do. They looked a wee bit dead on their feet, to be honest with you. They looked as though they'd run their race. But as you say, Ox, chance after chance. Lammers in particular, that one that you just said there was a good height for the goalie. For me, he should score that, Ox. That was the best. That was the clearest chance that we had. He had eyes on the goals. He had both sides, left and right, and he for me, hit it too close to the goalie. If he plays that on the deck, curls it in anywhere he wants, it was the right height, and it was a bad shot. Raskin had one over the bar, which he skied. I think Lundstrom had one that he skied over the bar. I think Tav had one as well. And it was that seemed to be the pattern until Danilo came on. And I really liked his movement. I thought he looked the real deal. I know he's not 100% fit yet, but what a difference when he was just playing on the guy's shoulder and he was turning the Ox.
I don't know if that catch on a centre forward that can control the ball, Jaffa. I don't know if that's...
I think the manager's got an eye for it. I think he knows what he's wanting to do. It's maybe we're maybe just going to have to persevere with the personnel we've got now. The players that are available seems to be causing the issue, Ox. I don't believe the manager thinks Dessers is the guy that's going to lead us forward. Surely. I can't imagine that's the case. I thought about wee McCausland at one point, Ox. I would have thought McCausland would have been a better option up top on his own with his pace, because he's got pace to burn than Dessers. That was just one call I had at half time. I thought, take him off and put McCausland on.
McCausland never came into my thoughts last night, I must confess. We've not got a lot of players. But Danilo would be the one, or somebody on the left, and try to get Seema right up top, mate.
Yep.
You can imagine their defence. I'm not saying right's the answer. If Wright was on the left, Seema through the middle, and Matondo on the left, with that half an hour to go, they would have been all over the place, wouldn't they?
Aye, I think we would. I think we would have got them if we had done that a bit earlier, Ox, and if we had that stability. We'd had those kind of persons. If Matondo was available and was fit, as you say, Seema and Matondo, and Danilo through the middle, I think if they had been on the park even for 45 minutes, I'm confident one of the three of them would have scored a goal, if not more, because the pace I think would have spooked them, because they didn't look good at the back either, to be honest with you. They look shaky.
Once we got them, and ultimately we could have won it, but we could have lost it when big Goldson slipped. But I think it was Wright that gave the ball away, from memory. Slightly gave the ball away. They broke with about 92 minutes on the clock or something, Jaffa. I thought, here we go, sucker punch. But we got
Scott Wright got caught with the ball, didn't he? He got caught.
Aye.
He was holding on to it too long. He didn't release the ball, which he's guilty of, Ox, to be honest with you. He's got that in his game. He tries to take it in, but he's not got the strength or the body strength to do that. He needs to do that in one movement. He's good at that when he takes the ball in and flicks it round the corner and then runs onto it.
Jaffa, he's not scored a goal since the Scottish Cup final 2022. We're nearly moving into 2024. You scored more regular than he did.
You're gonna get me in bother. You're right about that though, and that's a reflection of to where the squad's got us at this moment in time. That we're debating whether Scott Wright's, what he can do and what he can't do. Scott Wright is another one that shouldn't long term, short term I should say. He shouldn't be in the starting 11. Maybe a squad player, but he certainly shouldn't be even coming onto the park the way he did last night.
Months to go his contract, like several players: McLaughlin, Borna, Lundstrom, Jack, Roof. If I missed any, Scott Wright. There's a lot of money there.
Yeah, there is, Ox. There's a lot of wages going out the door.
There's a lot of money there. Listen, I would have signed Scott Wright. I thought that works. We take a punt. We go and take somebody we think's got potential. He's Scottish. I've no problem with it. No problem with signing the boy. We've given him a chance. There's been times that he's done well for us. We've been folklore, Rangers folklore. He'll be turning up in 30 years' time at the Seville dinner. One of the ex-players, mate. He's in the starting 11. 4 days later, he scored a wonderful goal in the Scottish Cup final. Whether you like it or no, the boy will be in my history. Ultimately, has he turned out good enough? No, I don't think so, but we took a punt, it didn't work out. I've no problem with that, Jeff.
No, absolutely. No, I mean, you're right, and that's... I would have done the same thing. I agree with you, and it looked on the surface of it, he was going to... It was a great move, he had great pace. He's just not showed it often enough, folks, and he doesn't make that pace work for him. He doesn't get himself in behind often enough for me, because he has got pace to burn, but he doesn't demonstrate it enough. He's not like Seba, or even Matondo, who gets right in behind. And I'm not saying Scott Wright's as fast as Matondo, but he's certainly over a 10-yard distance. There's probably not a lot of players that would touch him. And if ending with that kind of pace, I think should be doing a lot more damage, and it should certainly have a lot more goals, or at least a lot more assists in our game.
All right, okay. I think we're pretty much done with the game, and I think what we'll hear. I think we'll get the phone lines open, Jeff. Is that all right with you? Yeah.
Great. It'd be great to hear what some of the fans and some of the Bears think of the performance last night and what their thoughts were. How they saw it and what their thoughts were on the manager's performance.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, well, obviously, people come on, we'll discuss last night's game, but we're starting to slowly move to a game against Hearts at Ibrox and the press conference today. So we might get some snippets on last night's game and snippets who's fit for your manager, Mr. Clement, Jaffa.
Absolutely. It'd be great to hear the presser.
Yeah, so let's hear from Philip Clement.
Hi Philippe, could you give a squad update from last night? I wonder if there's Kemar Roof, Borna Barisic, what's their availability?
Kemar will not be available for the weekend for sure. Probably we need to rebuild. The next weeks we need to take a really good look at that, because he's been struggling already for a long time with the same things. So it's important to find also what's the reason for that, and not always to find a solution to get him fit for the next game and then struggling afterwards again and going game by game, but really go to the cause of the problem. Borna, we will see if he can train tomorrow or not. So that's still a question mark.
Can you tell us what the situation is with Kemar? Do you expect him to be out for a long term, given that what you've said? Sorry.
I can do a lot of things, but I'm not a doctor. I didn't study that long. I studied a few years, but not like the doctors need to do. So, no, I cannot say anything about that. We first need to make a really good assessment how to bring Kimar back in a way that he can be a long time back and not short time, because that's been the case last couple of months to get him fit for games, but in between struggling. So we need to get him really fit.
Morning, Philippe. Can I ask, how far away is Danilo from being able to play 90 minutes, having come off the bench in the last couple of games?
That's also an interesting question. Of course, not now. Been quite a while out. He didn't play so many 90 minutes last couple of months, or even the last year. So yeah, he looked bright in the short period that he played. It's about making him stronger, that he can reach that level during 90 minutes long. So yeah, it's a work of several weeks, I think, to bring him to that level. But we have a lot of cases like that. So we look at it individual, case by case, how they recover after games. So it's interesting with Danilo to see after this. It looks good, and like this, making together with the performance staff, with the medical staff, a really good plan for every individual player to get them to their best level.
Where are Tom Lawrence and Ravi Matondo in terms of their recoveries?
They're still in Glasgow. No, they are not yet ready to train with the squad.
Hi, Philippe. I just wonder what you made of the fact that Graham Souness has said he's close to taking on a consultancy role at the club. You obviously met him during the recruitment process for yourself. Does it concern you at all? He's a former manager, very popular figure, very big personality, or are you quite comfortable with it?
There's nothing that concerns me. We had a good talk in the interview. It was interesting also for me to get more info about the club and to make a good decision. So it's somebody who's passionate for the club. And the other things, it's between him and the board to decide what or how. So we will see. No, we had a good talk, and we're both passionate people about football. We're both passionate about this club, so that's never a problem.
He was complimentary of you, but he also said he probably would have chosen Frank Lampard over you. Does that worry you, or are you surprised by that?
It's good. So that's a good lesson for me now that I read everything that he said, because the things you say, you put it in a different perspective. So I'm not going into those talks or rumors or all this noise about things, because I'm here to do a sportive job. I'm here to build a team, to make a team stronger. And I'm not here to talk about rumors or things that are spread, half spread, because that was not the real story, what he said. I'm busy with the team and all those things. That's important.
Philippe, can I ask what your assessment has been of the quality of the squad, given the amount of time you've had with them, both in training and in the couple of games you've had so far?
About the quality that we can grow, that we need to grow with the objectives we have. And like I said 1 week ago, so that's really short term. We need to work hard on that, and the next weeks, months, we will make a good assessment to see what we need to do or not need to do in January, which positions we need to look for to make the squad better or not. It's open period for the players now, like a white page, that they can get chances, that they can show themselves, and I'm looking at it that way also. So interesting to see, with the problems we had this week, with no left fullbacks, 3 players out who can play that position, that you need to find other solutions, and that player stepped in and showed that that way they can do it also. That makes the squad stronger and better, and that's what I expect for the next couple of weeks and months to grow. I'm not working towards a starting 11 that's always the same. I want a bigger squad. If you want to compete in 4 competitions, you need a squad where much more players are available and where much more players are ready to reach that quality that you need every game, every 3 days. So really interesting period next weeks and months. It's much too early to make decisions around that.
Given how hectic it's been in the number of games you have is there a sense that you're firefighting a little when the Rangers fans maybe need to accept performances will go up and down over the course of the next few weeks?
I don't know. It's going to be a bumpy ride. That's normal in these circumstances. But we're going to take that ride the best as possible, and I hope we go straight over the bumps. That's my hope. We're going to work hard with the players around that, about their fitness, about their recovery, about their lifestyle, about what we need to do tactically, how we can do things. This morning also, of course, everybody's tired after a game like that, but this morning we had a video meeting also about the things that were good, the things we had to improve after the game yesterday, and like this, it's building a story together. The football I want to see is a football with a lot of movement, but a lot of movement together. It's not something you can create in 1-2 weeks. Nobody can do that. Not one player can understand that also, how to move together with 2-3 other players or 4 other players the same time in 2-3 weeks. If you need to change systems, it's even more difficult. So we need time, we need hard work, we need concentration, focus of the players, and they go full in the next weeks and months to make this story really strong. And I'm convinced of that with these players and with the right decisions, we can make a really good season with this team.
What's your expectation for Hearts ahead of this weekend, Felipe?
Yeah, that they want to come back after losing a game. They're now close to the top positions there. It's a short recovery after the game, so our focus is now on that and doing the right things in this game against Hearts. They have a few interesting players. Their striker played in Belgium. I know him from before also. He played in my old team where I started playing football, and he's doing really well. So it's going to be a game that we want to be dominant, that they're going to play transition game, that they're going to count on set pieces. So we need to be on top of our game with and without the ball.
And just finally, is there an injury update on the likes of Cifuentes and Tom Lawrence and Dijon Sterling?
Yeah, that Cifuentes normally will train the first time tomorrow, normally. So don't shoot me if it's not the case. But that's the idea for the moment. And the other 2 are not yet available for the weekend to train with the team.
Quite a wee bit to talk about there, Jaffa.
There's a lot in there, Rox. There's a lot in there, isn't there?
Just before we go on, do you get the feeling that he's been your manager longer than 2 weeks, mate?
I get why you would say that. Yeah, I would get why you would say that. He seems to know a lot, doesn't he, that's been going on.
I just got a feeling that the guy's been put for a while, but anyway. Right, we'll start from the beginning. The first thing that came up was the Roof thing. Injured in Kemar Roof. We like Kemar Roof, but enough's enough, Jaffa.
I think we've got to that point, Ox, haven't we? I mean, this is, I don't know how many times we've been here now. We Kemar, we all know the fit Kemar Roof as a player and scores a lot of goals, but the harsh reality of it is, Ox, he's done now for me. Probably, I would think even, the guy's career, I don't know where he goes, and whether or not he'll be capable of playing, elite football or really at a decent level. But I don't think it's with us, Ox. I don't think it's with Rangers. I think it would be time to have a conversation probably and just cut ties now and see if he wants to move on. I know he's got 6 months or so left his contract, but he's taking up a valuable space, and it's the amount of time and energy that takes up for the medical team in the background, Ox, and all the support staff that are involved in it. I'm not saying throw the guy in the scrap heap. I'm not saying that, although it sounds like that. But at the end of the day, there's no sentiment here. We can't keep doing this and hoping that we can bring him back, because he comes back and he plays half a game and he's out again for another 6 or 8 or 10 weeks.
I'm only talking league games here, Jaffa, yeah?
Yep.
League games, yeah? So in the last 2 full seasons, and this season, 78, 76 plus 9, 85 games, yeah?
Yep.
You with me?
85 league games available.
Yeah. He started 13.
Yeah. And that's bearing in mind, Ox, we're going back to two and a bit years ago of his contract. He signed a 4-year contract with us. You know, it's just not. It's just a bad decision, Ox. You know, with these signing of these injury-prone players again is something we just need to knock that in the head, and that needs to stop. You know, if guys have got a bit of baggage about them, you know, if they're 27, 28, 26, and they're they're already on the downward spiral. I don't think that's what we want as a club. We've got what the problem is, Ox. We've got too many of our guys that are like that now. We've got too many in our team that are just like really badly injured and not able to contribute to the team. And it's a real drain in resources.
He has played more games than that as substitute, but I'm talking about started league games.
Started, yeah.
13 and 85 games, mate. Yeah.
I mean, I think the player himself would probably be the first to say that, Ox, that he's gutted in the return, and because he's a professional footballer, he wants to play on a Saturday or a Thursday night or a Wednesday night. That's what they sign up for. But his body's, you can't make your body do something it doesn't want to do if he's not got the physical fitness. And being a pro footballer nowadays is really demanding. It's demanding on your body because of the amount of pressure you're putting on it and the amount of stress that you're putting on it, and also the amount of time they're playing, they're training and both playing football. You've got to be really fit. And sadly, the reality is Kemal's just not. He's, if it's not his hip that's giving him jip, it's his calf. That for a long time it was his calf. Then they said they'd got to the problem because remember in the summer there he got an operation, Ox, and that was supposed to be the end of it. That's what our previous manager told us. They'd got to the bottom of the problem and that was the end of it. He was over in Dubai in recuperation, and he was putting up stuff on social media, and how he was feeling, and it just hasn't materialised, has it?
No, not at all. We don't dislike him, but obviously, as you said, he's moving into the last week. He can sign for somebody the 1st of January. You never know. It might be shake hands. He can move on. We might not get any money, just somebody after wage bill. You never know, Jeff. Everyone frees money. I don't think we'll see Kemar Roof at the club after his contract. Unfortunately for the lad, but he's going to be 31, Jaffa.
Yep, and that's a he's on the downward slope, Ox, as far as his career path goes. Once the 3 appears in your age. For any professional footballer, especially outfield player, goalkeepers are different, of course, but especially for an outfield player, you get the odd exception to the rule. You get the odd Stephen Davis who can play at his 37, 38 because of the way he lives his life. But and I'm not suggesting that with Kemar. I think he's always been quite an injury-prone player, Ox, even in his early days when he was down at Watford and places like that. A great player, he is. He's a very, very unique footballer. But his body just can't hold up, and I agree with you. I think it's time to have a conversation with his agent and make a decision on, because he's on a substantial wage at our club, and we could free that up and spend that money wisely. There's some fantastic young players out there. We need to scout, and I think that's one of the things the manager's going to bring in with him, Ox, because he's got a great knowledge of European football.
Aye. Listen, Kemar might stay his contract out, but he's not the future. But that was the first thing in the interview. The second bit, when one of the journalists tried to, I'll say it, Jaffa, he tried to hijack or hoodwink or sidetrack or ambush our manager, for a headline. And I thought the manager handled it well. Basically told him where to go.
Yeah. Sly, Ox. sly wording, making an assumption, basically telling lies. But that's Scottish journalists for you, isn't it? They don't they get a bit of a story, and as Philip Clement actually said to him, that's not the perspective that I understand, and I know the full story. You don't, basically. And I'm not going to get involved in rumours and lies, basically. But try to suggest that Souness wanted to sign Lampard and just nonsense talk. But that again, that's the dark arts at work in Scotland. That's them trying to destabilise. They're trying to get inside our heads, and they're basically manipulating stories. And the quicker, and I know we talk about it often on the show in here, just to treat it with the contempt it deserves. It's a nothing. And I thought the manager handled it brilliantly. By the way, I thought he was magic there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I try cause a rift, put a wedge in, cause bother, mischief, mate, whatever you want to call it, Jaffa. But doff my hat to the manager.
Short shrift. I hope he gets a hoodie on afterwards. I hope he gave him a clip round the ear, because I tell you what, if the guy in question, I think he's a height of nothing. So Big Phil will probably have his eyes on him. But he's got to learn all this, Oxford. He's got to get to know all this personnel and who they are. I know we can't go back to excluding people for press conferences, but if that nonsense, that should be getting nipped in the bud, and we should be all over that in the background. And you should be getting told in no uncertain circumstances that's not on. It is, as you say, it's mischief making, it's sly, and it's naughty. But that's what we come to expect up here in Scotland, don't you?
Yes, it is, mate. It is. Right, and then we moved on to some of the other parts of the press conference. Who was fit? Again, the injuries are making the headlines for us. So Bonner might train tomorrow. Lawrence and Sterling are out. Dowell wasn't even mentioned. The list goes on and on, Jaffa. You can't keep up. It's like a toilet roll.
And he's quite what I like about him, Ox, is he's quite blunt about that. At the end of the day, they're not training, so they can't be considered for first team action. So he's really no one to talk about them. It is what it is. The guys are injured. He's not a doctor. I liked his answer on that as well. He didn't train that long. He knows a lot, but he's not a doctor. Asking me doctors questions, I like the cut of his jib. He's as I said, he's quite blunt, and I hope he continues with that, because I think that's what we've been needing. We've been needing somebody to defend for the front. He's our leader, he's our manager, and I'm glad he's doing that. So let's just talk about the players that are fit. Let's talk about who is available and who might be available in the case of Barisic. Personally, Ox, for me, if Ridvan's available, I would start Ridvan in Sunday against Hearts.
Did the manager question the fitness of the group, mate? Did you pick that up?
I did. He was talking about the recovery time and getting them back in, and not. He was saying that it was demanding, and a lot was expected of them. But that's just the way it is. And they were back in this morning for a video analysis. And I did pick up, I think I mentioned it in one of the previous shows, Ox, and I hope he does do it. I hope he goes back to 2 training sessions a day, because if that's what's needed to get the pool into the players into fitness levels and get them up and get them fit enough for what is required, and that movement and structure that he's talking about, the way he wants the team to play and how he sees it, then I think he's. I hope he implements that. I hope he does get back to 2 training sessions a day. I think that's what's needed, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing much training, really, as at the moment, mate.
No with the schedule.
Rest today, wee bit tomorrow, ready for Sunday. Then Sunday, rest of Monday, wee bit on Tuesday, ready for Wednesday, mate. It's not stopping, is it?
No, it's the schedule is heavy, Ox. There's no 2 ways about it. But as I said, every club has the same. Every club that's playing in Europe and playing, the domestic football and the pool of players that we've got, we should be able to cope with that, Ox. It's just that lighter now because of the amount of people that are out injured. But I'm a great believer, and I see that as an opportunity for the young players. I really have high hopes for McCausland. I know he's a young lad, but I think he's got everything, Ox. And I really hope we're going to see a bit of McCausland as we move forward in the coming weeks. I think he's. I've got a real kind of, I'm not based on anything, just the fact that I've seen the lad, and I think he's the real deal. I think he could contribute. I'm not saying he's going to, knock walls down or anything like that, but I think with his pace and his ability, I think he can contribute to the team. And there's a couple other young players in the background as well that can hopefully get a few starts.
Yeah, but we'll see, mate. The manager thinks they're good enough. It's up to him, mate. He's got a choice to make. That's what always comes down to.
Yep.
So Big Phil's. Is it right to call him Big Phil? We're going with that behalf.
I think we go with Big Phil. I quite like Big Phil, actually. I think it's got a wee bit of EastEnders about it, hasn't it?
Big Phil. Aye, Big Phil. Aye. We'll go with that. Aye. Listen, there's been a couple of comments in press conferences. I don't know if you picked up on Jack Butland. I know it's late for you on a Thursday night, but after the game, he talked about it was time for change, or words to that effect, mate. I don't quote me on it exactly, but for the previous manager, and considering he was a new player, I found it really strange. I think the media have picked up on it today. We got it right away, and then some of the comments he made to the manager today, and particularly he talked about lifestyle, Jaffa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if he's questioned the players and questioned the previous regime, mate.
Well, I think that's not the first time, Ox, in the couple of weeks that he's been in the public eye, and since he was announced as the new manager, that he's suggested stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I did hear the Jack Butland interview, Ox, and he did say words to that effect that change needed to happen, and as you say, considering it was Beale that signed Butland, if that's where we got to, then and the guys that are just in the door and. Whatever else has been going on, Ox. But all that stuff will all come out in time. It will just take time, but it will all come out, what was going on in the background. It certainly looks like there was an unhappy camp there, and I think we all knew that, in the way the results and the performances, and essentially, look, it's the same group of players, Ox, and I'm not saying it was a vintage Rangers performance last night by any stretch of the imagination. But listen, look, they still got a point, and you've got to applaud that. They came away with there, and they could have very well got the 3 points. They could have lost it at the end as well, but I think that's a reflection of nothing else than the new manager coming in, Ox, and the performance at the weekend against Hibs, and the performance last night, especially the second half performance. I, for one, I'm quite impressed with the cutty Philip Clement's tactics and his brains and what he's saying and what he's trying to do. I like what he's got to say. He doesn't say too much for me, Ox. He says just enough. But he certainly is questioning a lot of things. And I think, listen, I think that's refreshing. Personally, I think it's good to do that.
I don't disagree with you, mate. I think he's got to. I think he's a different character. We're all different, Michael Beale with his ideas, he's come in and he's got his standards. Looks to me as if he's merely a disciplinarian. That's the impression I get, Jaffa.
Certainly looks that way. And again, I think you have to have that, Ox. I genuinely do. At any football club, to be successful, I think you need that guy that they all stop talking when he comes into the room. Because otherwise it's just like a holiday camp, and we've all seen that in years gone by. And to get the best out of the players, at the end of the day, they're all young men, Ox, and a group of 25, 27 young men in a room, it's mayhem. It's like a zoo half the time if you let it go out of hand. So you've got to keep in control of it, and the only way usually to do that is to do it with a set of rules and a set of standards and a set of do's and don'ts and things that they can and can't do, and things you eat and the way you live your life. And I think, listen, if you're a professional footballer, there'll be a real mixture of guys in there. There'll be some guys that live with a vegan diet, and there'll be other guys in there that are trying to have pizza and Domino's for their breakfast in the morning. and it's a matter of getting on top of that and making sure that doesn't happen.
I remember I was with a guy who was wanting sea bass for lunch. That was a bit much fun.
Now.
There was a McDonald's right next to that place. I couldn't afford it, not me.
And there was a crocodile supper and all.
The old crocodile.
Had to be there. You had to be there.
You'll never love that one, dude, will you?
Never, mate. Never. No, the three of us wouldn't.
No, I know. Oh, I was like taking candy off of kids, mate. Right, okay. Come and join us. 0141 356 1972. I was speaking to Big Stevie for the drum the day, and he was passionate. He's frustrated with some of the players. He was disappointed in the performance. Then I was speaking to his big mugger, and he's like, "Oh, I've seen us play worse in Europe and that, and I'm happy with the result. We get the point, win the 2 games at Ibrox, and we're through." He recognises that the players aren't good enough and we will improve as we bring hopefully better players in. Just, it's just that 2 people see the same game so differently.
Yeah, I think I would probably fall on the side with Southside there. I have seen us playing worse. I mean, I remember playing the run to Seville against Braga away, Ox. Oof. I mean, I think we were worse that night than we were last night. I mean, what I will say, if you to break the game down, the defending last night was absolutely brilliant. The amount of blocks, John Lundstrom, I think, I heard you saying on the show last night, Ox, the block that Lundstrom got in, it was a certain goal. The guy was rebound off a Butland. I thought Golson had a couple of decent blocks. Ben Davies had a few. So there was some real good defending went on, and that for me shows a real togetherness and passion for the guys at the back. And when you get that and you can keep the zeros, Gio used to say at the back, Ox, you're always capable of sneaking a goal, and that's what happened last night. We grew into the game. So I'm probably on the side of Southside on that one. I'm glad. I'm happy with the point. We're in a good position. We've got 2 home games coming up. If we win the 2 of them, we get to that 10-point mark and we're as good as through. So and then we've got a shot against Betis in the last game. So from my perspective, Ox, I think what you can't deny is if Clermont navigates his way out of this group, Ox, that's a great achievement.
With the mess of squads, I can just imagine. But Big Stevie will say that. He said that Robbie Burns and McGrady, they all stick together. That's what it'll be saying. But anyway, I think they've both got a point, mate, in different levels.
Yeah. But Big Stevie's right as well. I agree with some of the first half performance. I mean, man alive, I think we were all probably shouting and bawling at the telly, or the guys that were there, what it must have been like to see all the passes getting misplaced, and it does get the old blood pressure going, doesn't it?
Just a bit, mate, just a bit. What about the flaw in younger Raskin's game? He's got a lot of potential, but he can't pass that ball, can he?
No, and then the couple of times, see the interceptions that he done last night. You go from one extreme to the other, and you're just wanting to add that dimension to the end of his game, didn't you? He's got the vision. He can spread the ball out. He's definitely got something about him, Ox. He reads the game well. His positioning's good. His positional strength's good. But man alive, he just, as you say, once he gets it, it's like, what am I going to do with it? And then he gets the cold feet, and he just can't get the ball. He can't do it often enough. Get the ball into his fellow player, open them up, splice them open, cut them in 2. Play 1-2s. He just seems to fall down at that last. I mean, the shot he had last night, again, it was a great opportunity. The goals opened up for him, Ox, and he skied it over the bar. You're just wanting him to hit the target, aren't you?
Aye. That was a poor effort, really. He done all the hard work.
I know. I mean, it was about 8 feet above the bar. I mean, it wasn't even Rose Ed. It was going into Prague, wasn't it?
Aye, for a night out. But anyway, come and join us. 0141 356 1972. Give us your thoughts last night. Give us your thoughts on Sunday. Give us your thoughts what the team's going to be, yeah? Yeah, so we've still got a few injuries, Jeff, for it.
We have, mate. We have,
Cifuentes is back. I don't think the support will be excited with that at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, he's back, potentially going to be training for the first time, but I don't think he's going to be available for the weekend. At this moment in time, the manager said he at the moment the plan is that he'll train tomorrow, but he can't be 100% sure of that. So, the injury list, Docs, is, I don't know how many we've got injured now. What is it? We're still in the 7s and the 8s and the 9s, first team players. It's just
McLaughlin's injured allegedly. We'll see him. John McLaughlin, Dejon Sterling, Borman maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cifuentes is coming back. Ryan Jack's coming back. Tom Lawrence is injured. Yeah. Cadwell's on his way back. Emilio's on his way back. Matondo's injured. I hope I missed it. That's about it. Is that it?
That's about it. Roof.
Roof.
That's still 9, isn't it?
Aye.
That's mental. It's crazy. And the minute we get one or two back, we seem to have another one or two join the list. We're just not getting a break at all. We're not getting any. We're not getting a clear run. 3 or 4 players coming back and writing that down to 3 or 4 players doesn't sound that bad. But that's all right. We can live with that. 3 or 4 players out injured, and the thing is, there's still quite a few important players in there, Ox, that would contribute. Matondo for one, before he got injured, there was certainly coming onto a game and showing a part to him that I think a lot of us were hoping we would see. But he's starting to show it that sheer pace. Tom Lawrence, that's what are we with Tom Lawrence now? That's well over a year, isn't it?
Aye, it must be 13 months. Maybe. Do you want his stats? His stats, maybe. I'll just give him quickly, Jeff.
We saw again. Tom Lawrence just looked brilliant, didn't he? When he joined us, and we saw him for those probably 8 or 9, 10 games, scoring goals. Some of his play was ridiculous. It was brilliant.
You think it's as many as that 8 or 9 games?
Many was it? 4?
I don't know, mate. I'm just asking you. Do you think it was as many as that?
Well, it was the PSV game, wasn't it? He played in that.
He started. He signed for us last July, so he's been with us, let's be honest, 15 months, Jeff, a year.
Mm-hmm.
So 47 league games. He started 5, mate. 5.
It's crazy, Ox, isn't it? It's mental.
You need business football.
We just, and I think that's, to be perfectly honest with you, Ox, I think that's the manager's biggest challenge right now as we speak. I think that's his biggest problems that he's got to deal with, is how do we get as many of those guys off the treatment table, and are they capable of getting off the treatment table, some of them, and contributing, or have we got bigger problems than we think with some of those players? I know we've just been chatting about Roof. We've seen this quite a few times. We came out with Tom Lawrence. I didn't know a lot about the guy, and I've seen him bobbing about English football, and I knew he was a decent player. Didn't realise he was quite as good as what I thought he was until I saw him in the flesh. Really took a liking to him, the kind of swagger he had. But it's been a long term injury. We had Hollander before that, and then you turn on the telly last week, he's lining up for Sweden.
Yeah, no, I get your point, Jeff. I get your point. It's hard to, defend. There's all different kinds of injuries we're getting, and the numbers, and Well, two guys running into each other, they split their heads open and they're out for 6 weeks, mate. There's no lot you can do, mate. It's the game and you can see it and it's happened, you know. All these muscle, I think it was Albert mentioned that Red Van done his hamstring and you're fine, you're saying, well, it's a badge in 8 to 10 weeks. You don't see them for months and months and months,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's also affecting our opportunity to grow, to bring in other players because they're a drain on your resources, Jaffer, if you're being honest.
Yeah. That's exactly. I mean, that's what the guys in the wages room will be saying. You know, that are processing the pay packets. You know, the amount of money that's going out the door, Ox, that we're getting as not just as the team, as fans. You know, we're getting deprived of seeing these guys on the park, and that hits merchandise and all the rest of it. And you know, there's a whole knock-on effect. But the money that must be going out. You know, I dare say there'll be some legals in there with insurance policies and stuff, paying certain policies and things like that. But you know, there'll be a mix in there, Ox. You know, and you'll never know the truth of that, and you'll never get to the bottom of that, and neither should you, because that's private information. But you know, it's just it's a big part of what we talk about as fans, and it shouldn't be. We should be talking about what's happening on the park from a football point of view. Know what's going on in a treatment room. And I mean, you heard that interview you've just played there with the manager. You know, it's every week. You know, he's an update on players. He's an update on these three. And, you know, I dare say he'll probably get bored of that quite quickly, talking about all that stuff.
We start talking about picking a team which will come after the tune. You're saying, well, it's no, I fancy him or he'll play. You'll say, oh, I'll play him because he's the only one that's fit.
Well, I think that's probably what's happening a wee bit with Dessers and Lammers, because when you do pick your team, and I'm sure we all do this, and it'd be good to hear some of the Rangers Radio listeners phoning in with, you know, if they have the same thinking, if they think the same thing, like you've just said, do you go, wait a minute, is he injured? Can I pick him? Is he all right? I mean, I'm saying I would put Ridvan in at the weekend. I don't even know if Ridvan's fit, if he's available.
I think he was only not available for the European squad because he wasn't put in it. And maybe rightly so at the time it was put forward, Jeff. But yeah.
Yep.
You know, it maybe looks a mistake now, but when it was put forward the weeks ago, Ridvan was coming back for injury, yeah?
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember it was spoke about at the time, and obviously it did look like the right decision, because you didn't know, you know, what kind of condition he was going to come back in and whether he was going to be able to get up to speed, you know. But again, I would have thought from a medical point of view, we should know that about players, you know, who comes back from injury quick, who's a quick healer, you know. There's usually that's all part of the doctor's remit. And the manager usually is aware of stuff like that, you know, who hits the ground running again. You know, in the case of when you get injured, like Golson seems to be a quick healer. I'll go and say that now and I'll jinx the guy.
I think Ryan Golson came back to bite the previous manager. Just my name for personal thoughts, mate. I think it sending out a bad signal.
Yep.
You know, if you're forced to do a pre-season and somebody comes back for injury and maybe doesn't do it all and then comes right back into the team, it's vibes, Jaffa, you know.
Aye. Yeah, mate.
Right, well, I think we've reached that time of the evening, mate. Listen, it's obviously this Sunday, Ibrox is a Remembrance Sunday game because it's so close to the 11th of the 11th, so the tune tonight reflects the mood. Take it away, Fox.
Stationed in the city, a British soldier stood, talking to the people there, if the people would. Some just stared in hatred, and others turned in pain. and the lonely British soldier wished he was back home again. Come join the British Army, said the posters in the town. See the world and have your fun, come serve before the crown. His jobs were hard to come by and he could not face the door. So he took his country's shilling and enlisted on the road. There was no fear of fighting, the empire long was lost. 10 years in the army, getting paid for being boss. Then leave a man experienced, a man who's made the grade, a medal and a pension, some memories and a trade. Then came the call to Ireland, as a call had come before. Another bloody chapter in an endless civil war. The priests they stood on both sides, the priests they stood behind. Another fight in Jesus' name, the blind against the blind. The soldiers stood between them, between the whistling stones, and then the broken bottles that led to broken bones. With petrol bombs that burned his hands and nails that pierced his skin, and wished that he had stayed at home surrounded by his kin. The station filled with people, the soldiers soon before. The better in the station than where the people wore. The room filled up with mothers, with daughters and with sons, who stared with itchy fingers at the soldier and his gun. A yell of fear, the screecher breaks, the shatter in the glass. The window of the station broke to let their package pass. A scream came from the mothers as they ran toward the door, dragging children crying from the bomb upon the floor. The soldier stood and could not move, his gun he could not use. He knew the bomb had seconds and not minutes on the fuse. He could not run to pick it up and throw it in the streets. There were far too many people there, too many running feet. Take cover, yelled the soldiers, take cover for your lives. And the Irishmen threw down their young and stood before their wives. They turned towards the soldier, their eyes alight with fear. For God's sake, save our children, or they'll end this short lines here. The soldier looked towards the bomb, his stomach like a stone. Why was this his battle, God? Why was he alone? He lay down on the package and he murmured one farewell to those at home in England, to those he loved so well. He saw the sights of summer, felt the wind upon his brow. The young girls in the city parks, how precious were they now. Soaring of the swallow, the beauty of the swan, the music of the turning world, so soon would it be gone. Muffled soft explosion and the room began to quake. The soldier blown across the floor, his blood a crimson lake. They never heard him cry or shout, they never heard him moan, and they turned their children's faces from the blood and from the bone. The crowd outside soon gathered and the ambulances came to carry off the body of a pawn lost to the game. And the crowd they clapped and jeered and they sang their rebel songs. One soldier less to interfere where he did not belong. But will the children growing up learn at their mother's knee the story of the soldier who fought their liberty, who used his youthful body as a means towards the end, who gave his life to those who called him murderer and unafraid.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
powerful tune, Jeff, isn't it?
Oh, lovely, Ox. Aye, it really is a powerful tune. It's makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, mate. Especially as you know in the world at the moment.
Yep.
You know. Right. Okay. On another somber note, I was asked to do this, and I said I would. So I got a message tragically about a young boy called Ben Hood, who was at AK Gabriel Tamata on Rangers Media. He was an admin on there, and they try to raise funds to get a memorial on a brick or something so that people can gather with mental health issues and talk. He was a good friend to a lot of people, good bear, and he formed a thread in the forum called Mind Matters, so he could offer support and help to other people who were suffering from mental health issues. Young Ben was a massive advocate, despite his own demons, of looking out for fellow bears and who he felt were dealing with mental health issues. So we were asked and gladly done it, but a tragic story once so young took away from another of our own took away due to mental health struggles. So there's a Just Giving page set up, so anybody wants to go and find it and donate, so that the people who are involved with Rangers Media, these friends and family, can get that. I like to say memorial to young Ben, a brick at Ibrox, hopefully, so that people can go there and maybe if they want to talk or meet somebody just to get something off their mind and help them. It's a sign of the times, Jaffa. Young man, tragically gone. Suicide, so sad.
Tragic, Ox. Really tragic. So my heart goes out to Ben and his family. Really, really sad.
Yeah.
And anybody who is suffering from any mental health issues, speak to somebody. Talk to somebody.
And that's how we commend our own young Robert, who's doing the Ibrox, putting a lot of that. It's got to support people, homeless people, and obviously a lot of them are people with mental health problems. So we admire young Robert and we wish him every success in his endeavours as well. Tragic, touched me. But we move on, and I hope we can win on Saturday for young Ben. He's a busy young man.
Yep.
Aye. So Fox had an interesting point. Is that the end for the young boy Divine at Ibrox? He's played at left back before for us under. I think it was Giovanni. I don't know if he ever done it for Bale. I don't need to think. But we never even got a sniff. So was that the end for him? Was that another young boy came, no quite made it, had a few games and then disappears?
It certainly looks like that, Ox. I mean, I know he had Ben Davies out there last night, who's obviously not a left back. It would certainly look that way. That Adam Devine seems to have kind of fallen down the pecking order a wee bit, Ox. Although in saying that, he was playing for the B team, the game that was put together last week against the Finnish team. They lost 3-2, but I watched a wee bit of that game. And Adam Devine was playing. I thought he didn't look too bad, to be honest with you. I don't think there was a lot wrong with his game. It's like a lot of every young player, Ox. It's a sliding doors moment for these young guys. They literally get one or two opportunities, and they've got to be ready. I remember Steven Gerrard talking about it. They've got to be obsessed to get into this. It's not getting to where they've got. This is just the beginning of it. They've got to be ready to take their opportunity, because they might only get one or two chances, especially at big clubs like Rangers or Liverpool or whoever it may be. And they've got to grab that with both hands, and they've got to be literally like game ready the minute they're called upon. It's I quite liked Adam Devine. I thought he'd a lot to him, Ox. I thought I rated him quite highly.
All right, talking about people we don't rate quite highly. We've been joined by old Davey. Evening, Davey.
Evening, Ox.
Evening, Davey.
How you doing, son? Firstly, I would like to send my condolences to young Ben's family. That was very tragic to hear. And
it was a sad tale, David.
Well, as you say, the way the world's going, we all know it's not that great. But anyway, I was just going to ask you about. You've actually answered them. One I was going to ask you was about the situation with the injury problems. You know, regarding...
Finish at 10 o'clock.
I know. No, Jaffa made a great point there earlier in the conversation when he said that I think Clement's biggest problem is getting that part of the medical side sorted. Because every time I listen to that man, I get more and more impressed with him. He's astute, very astute. He describes things as what you think, not like the last manager. And he discusses it. You're talking about, we need to do this, we need to stop it, we need to get... We're seeing that as well, but we were never getting that information coming to the management side. And every time I listen to him speaking, I think we're on a winner with this guy, because he definitely got what it is with it. And it's no BS he's talking. He's talking for experience, and that you can't be excused. Before I got off my rant, I was deeply disappointed with that idea at the press conference. I asked him that. I was raging when I heard that. And I know Jaffa says we can't go back to Barningfield. I would. Because that was impertinence. That was just brought up. I've almost discussed it, but that was just brought up. That was nonsense. And that should get dealt with, because we're bigger than that, guys.
Jaffa.
Yeah, Davey, taking your first point there about the medical team and the amount of players that we've got injured, I think that is his biggest challenge now, short term. I know he's got to win football matches, I get that, but and like you, Davey, at every time, in the probably half a dozen press conferences that Big Phil's done with us, I really like what the guy's got to say. I think he's really astute's a great word. He's very, very, he's very measured in how he presents himself, the information he passes. I think the majority of the fans, I would say, are probably really enjoying that side of it. And I like the bluntness, Davey, because I think that's what's been needed. And that question today, just going back to your final point, I think when we spoke about it earlier on the show, that's what we're up against. You know exactly what they're trying to do. We can all see it. We can all see through it. They're trying to destabilise the goodwill that's going on behind the scenes, and they're probably maybe a wee bit frightened with what they're seeing. Yeah. Because I don't know who that guy was that answered the question, but I'll put a pound to a penny. I'll bet you he supports the other side of the city, because that's how they operate, Davey, and that's just the naughtiness that we're up against. But I thought he was good. I thought the manager dealt with it perfectly, batted him away, and I hope he gave him a boot in the Hormoz on the way out.
You can give one for me, I know. And I would get it.
Typically, you get a fly one if somebody leaves.
No, he's very. He doesn't. He never ducked it, but he didn't get dragged into it. He didn't take the bait, as you would say, and that was the guy. That just showed to me his character, and he just put the guy quietly in his place. It was even the effrontery of even getting asked that. It was shocking, I thought. Yeah, let's slightly ask these guys while I'm on. And do you think come Sunday will change it a bit? Obviously, be playing in Europe. There's a few people maybe carrying me injuries. Do you think he'll mix it up a wee bit come Sunday?
We've got 14, maybe 15 fit players, Jaffa, so I don't think there'll be massive changes.
No, that's again, Oxy, and that's what I was saying earlier on here. I think it's going to be down to who's available, Davey, and we really are down to the bones. I mean, apart from Ridvan, who isn't in the squad, I think is probably the only real addition that come back into the mix. If available, Davey, I would play Ridvan. I think it gives a good balance to the team. I think it would give Ben Davies a break. He had a hard shift last night. I don't mean, I'm not saying the guy needs a break. I'm just saying just to keep it fresh. We've got a game next Wednesday night again, so there's plenty of football. And I think I heard the manager saying that last night after the game, that all the guys that are all in and about the first team, and they're all training, they're all fit and healthy, and are all going to play. They're all going to get minutes in the coming weeks because they're all going to be needed. Personally speaking, I've got a team for Sunday, and I would probably I would bring Ryan Jack into the team, and I would push Raskin up one into that front three. I think he could probably do a bit of damage there. So that would be my kind of one tactical sort of change I would make for the team that probably started last night, and I would drop Dessers out of the team because I don't think he's done enough to deserve a start, Davey. I don't think he's doing enough, and I don't think he's contributing enough.
Well, you're spot on there, by the way. I mean,
you can't drop Dessers, mate. What would we have to talk about if you dropped Dessers?
You need to drop him to the top of the stand.
Talking about people we want to drop to the top of the stand. I've been joined by Andy for each evening, Andrew.
Good evening, chaps. I wondered if there was a line coming like that, right enough.
He's good at them, isn't he, Andy?
I always know when they're coming, I'm going to get stuck straight away there. But there you go. Old Davey stole my thunder. That guy there that did that question there. He should never be allowed into Ibrox again. It should never been allowed to be asked. And that was shocking. He knew exactly what he was doing there. But you covered that pretty well. On the injuries, look, it's like anything, isn't it? Look, we don't shop in a big market, right? If you buy a pair of £1, if you don't buy it...
Wait a minute, Andy. Injuries can happen to anybody.
I know they can. I know they can.
You can get injured for the balls walking down the stairs.
Listen, he didn't fall. He was pushed by his lovely lady. I'm pretty sure of that, but he's not letting on. But he sent me a picture there with a wee bruise on his bloody finger and a moon boot, man. There's nothing wrong with him. He's like the players. He just didn't want to play this week, so he's feigned it. That's what he's done.
Okay, carry on.
It's like the quality of play. I get the injury there, but the quality of players that we've got, they're not very clever. And if you don't train them properly, you don't get them fit or up to speed, especially in Scottish football, the pace we play. That's always going to happen. You know what I mean? They've not been fit for a long time. You buy a $199 pair of headphones, you'll get 4 or 5 tunes out of it, and then they'll break. You know what I mean? And it's a quality that, unfortunately, that's the market we're in. We haven't trained them properly. I think some of them are training it. I think we've had this discussion a few times. When you look back, I know you're going to say, no, Gary's going back to the 70s, but you look back, they just stuck a couple of cortisone jags in them, and away they went. I mean, a lot of them can't walk and all that. I know that's still around. But they were real players, you know.
That's never going to happen again. And I'll tell you another reason it's not going to happen, because potentially their assets, Jaffa.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, with modern medicine and everything else nowadays, there's the legals and the insurances and all that go with it. And I can only imagine what some of those players' contracts must look like, Andy. Who has to be checked this and who has to be checked that. So, it's getting to the stage now that it's probably not going to be too distant a future that we probably won't even know when players are out injured and why they're out injured because of confidentiality rules and laws and regulations. That's the way I see it going anyway.
You're probably right. I mean, the amount of 50-50s that we pull out it's absolutely frightening. You just watch them; they're fair. But you see, listen, it's like anything, innit? If you're in a spot and you're told not like Glenn did that, you don't tackle and train it. If you don't get stuck in and get used to getting banged and knocks and all that, as soon as you get hit hard, you're going to crack. You've got to be tough. It's a man's game, innit? Get stuck in. You know, I've said it a million times. Blood, flesh and bones. You just get stuck in. You get stuck in. Even ordinary players will get their rewards. But when you're pulling out, many times you pull out, you're going to get caught anyway. But our team, when you look at them, they're fair taking a dun or getting stuck in. It's just, I don't know. Like you said, you ain't going to. It's modern day football, isn't it? I mean, even the balls are too light that they're playing with now, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But it's everything. Everything's modern now, isn't it? Not what you call a modern ball.
You're sort of struggling with us getting older, but ain't you?
Oh no! Listen, you're getting old, but don't worry about it. I wish I could stand up like I used to right enough,
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. The game's changed. A lot of it's for the better. A lot of it's for the worse, Andy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would sooner have the hard line football and all that, where you got stuck in there and winning good games and all that. Don't get me wrong, you got a lot of strange results there, didn't you? Because they didn't look after the cell properly, but by God, they got stuck in. And that's all I ever ask of my team, you know what I mean? But it ain't going to happen, so I'm mumping on for nothing really, ain't I? But I think that's what the reason. We're nowhere near fit enough. That's a big part of why we're picking up.
The manager's told you that. The manager's told you that. That's what he's alluded to, Jaffa then, David.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he said that, and he said that he's going to change that. And that's going to take time, though. And I've heard him say that a few times. He's asking, it's not something. It's not a quick fix. He can't change it overnight. He's not a magician. He's not a magic man. And I like that. It's true. It's honest, and it's he realises as well he's still got to win games in that period. But getting them fit seems to be the priority, Andy, and getting them healthy. And that's just something I just don't see. I don't see that easing anytime soon, to be perfectly honest with you. And I like his attitude on that, and I like his openness and his transparency.
Yeah, I think he knows what he wants to do, doesn't he? Oh, sorry.
I've been dying to give you a red card for years, but never got that far.
As long as you follow it with an orange one.
You've had tons of red cards, haven't you?
I've had a few.
On you go, Andy. Then we'll go to
I was with Fred. Now, don't forget I'm getting old now. No, look, I mean, I'm totally lost with Fred. That's why you've got to let me finish. You go on, they'll come to me.
On you go, David.
All right, now I'm not going to yell at Kurt here.
No.
No, honestly, guys, I'm not buying into the fitness, but I know we're lacking a bit. But I mean, we were a better team last night in that last 20 minutes.
Oh, finishing horses, we were.
So you can't say them if they're no fit.
Oh, I think
certain players are just, and it's pulling out of tackles. That's just the way the game is now. You can't tackle. That's it. You can't. You can pull a guy's jersey, you can pull his shorts off, and you probably not even get booked. But if you tackle somebody, you'll get booked. But what I seen at the end of that game, they didn't look unfit to me. I know they will see that they will all improve, but I think we've got bigger problems than just the fitness.
I think there's different types of fitness. You've got stamina, you've got explosives, you've got turning, twisting. Ones it's maybe giving you muscle injuries, different. But we were the finishing horses last night, you're right. Are you ready to come back in, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, two of our biggest, well, one of our biggest problems is we can't score goals. And two of your biggest problems is that Dez's and Lamas. Jesus Christ, whoever told them they were football players were at it. But that's his problem he's got is he's got 14 fit players. That's the frightening thing. And I totally get what Clement's on about and the fitness and all that, and getting him stronger and wanting him to know why, but they'll not do it for him. We'll only see the fruits of that when he brings certain players that he likes and that he thinks will go along with what he's looking for,
Aye, and he gets his own players. I was saving this, but we have got an exclusive next week. We've got the guy who scouted Lammers and Dessers coming on the show, Mr. R. Charles.
Aye. What's he called? Ray Charles, was he, by the way?
Yep. Right, okay. I tell you what. Look, we've got the link for young Ben. We're going to post it in all our social medias, and of course, it's easy. It's easy. It's up. It's up to nearly £9,000. Brilliant. When you see the picture of a young man, it'll touch you because he is so young. So that'll be posted in all our links as well. But this is an ideal opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Southside Super Sticks, get your winnings and donate something just giving to young Ben. Let's hear Southside Super Six.
Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for Saturday the 28th and Sunday the 29th of October. My first selection this weekend is Southampton to beat Birmingham. My second selection is Ipswich to beat Plymouth. My third selection is Leicester City to beat Queen's Park Rangers away from home. My fourth selection is Queen of the South to beat Cove. My fifth selection is Mansfield to beat Walsall. And on Sunday, it's Brighton to beat Fulham. If you take all six, it pays 15 to 1.
Oh, 15 to 1. 15 to 1. He's trying hard too, Andy, isn't he?
Well, he definitely is. I might have a look at that though. That sounds pretty not too bad there, results wise. So, mind you, it's cost me a fortune up to now, right enough. So, but just keep trying, don't you? You know what I mean? But 15 to 1, £5 on it. Not bad, is it?
Aye, £5 lost.
Aye, probably, but 1 week it'll come up. It did the other week there, didn't it?
August, mate. August, the first weekend in August, mate. We're moving into November now.
I know. There is a point there.
You know.
Well, can I come on a wee minute?
Just 1 second, Dave, while I remember, I'll bring you right back in. Ben Hood, if you're looking for the Just Giving page, it's Ben Hood. You'll be touched. On you go, David.
I would just, what we're talking about with young Ben and that, I would just like to put a wee shout out for the Court Hospice. I lost my daughter when she was 34, and all the guys at Colwell Golf Club, we have a tournament every year for her, and it's up to now we've raised over £3,000. So I'd just like to put a big thank you to all the members, senior members at Colwell Golf Club. Thanks very much.
Anytime. Well done, Davey. And I know that, and I know what you did and what you went through, mate, and your daughter would be proud of you, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, Jaffa.
Yes.
Give us your team. Oh,
Hey.
Sunday, sorry.
Sunday. So Butland, Taff, Golson, Sutter, Ridvan at left back if available. 2 sitting would be Jack and Lundstrom. 3 in the middle, Cantwell, Raskin in the middle, and Seema in the left with Danilo up front.
Yes. Okay, quite interesting. I don't think that'll vary for a lot of people. Anyway, I'll cut across you, Jaffa. We've been joined by Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Oxchair. Evening, Jaffa, Andy, old Davey.
Hey,
guys,
Hi, Blue Star.
Hi, guys. He's touched on the fact of the amount of injuries that we've got once again. I genuinely feel really sorry for our present manager. I honestly do. I think it's a horrendous situation to come into. But you look at it and you say, I look at it another way and I say, well, we know the recruitment's been absolutely awful over the last few seasons, never mind under our last manager. For me, Ox, I ask the question, how many guys that we actually outlaid finance for have we actually had any fruit for? By that, I mean, we always get told under Beale, well, you had to have faith in them simply because of Cantwell and Raskin. I'm going to say it. Cantwell, yes, the second half of last season, he's even been injured this season. Raskin's hardly set the head on fire. If you take into account all the guys that we actually outlaid cash for, I'm not talking about loanees. Who have we actually had any fruit for? I don't see any. I genuinely don't see any. Can't count Danilo because we've hardly seen him. Dessers, Lammers, well, there's nothing to be said there. We've had nothing. Cifuentes is the same. I actually thought he might have been all right. He's never been played centre midfield, but that's besides the point. He's even been crocked. I don't see anything that we've outlaid that we've actually had a return with. So I think we're present manager. I think the guy's hands are absolutely tied behind his back. I think he's working with nothing, to be quite honest. The recruitment has to step up 10 levels for me. Again, I ask the question, who have we actually outlaid on that we've had any return for? I think he's been absolutely horrific. I've never known as, even under Wallace, guys that we ever spent anything on. Sure, we all know it's a precarious situation that you don't always get no matter what you pay. But for the lack of return that we've had over the last number of seasons for any players that we've outlaid on Ox, I've never known anything like it. I really haven't.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. I mean, you start at the back, you go Ridvan, Ben Davis, they've showed glimpses and then they've been poor at times. They've not been in the team often enough for the outlay. You got the midfield, you get Cifuentes. Obviously Raskin and Cantwell were brought in pretty much as frees, so there's no side, and then you go to the forward. There's Daniel here, Dessers, Mondo, Dessers, Danilo, Lammers, Matondo. Nothing, mate, at the moment. Danilo got a bit of hope for.
I mean, you're right. We're all banking our hopes on the likes of Danilo, and even him. The first goal he gets for us, and he gets crocked. Anybody that we've actually outlaid on, I'm struggling to see who we've actually had a return with. Every single one of them have come in. They've either not hit the ground running, they've struggled, or they've been automatically crocked. And they're not just getting the odd wee injury. Like you and Albert have always said, these are all long-term things. So I find what our managers having to work with now. There's a blind man could see there's no way in this earth our present manager was going to leave Lammers and Dessers on even after half time last night. What options did he have? And I was the first to say it. He's got to take them off at half time. But then you look at the bench and you say to yourself, goodness sake, man, we thought we had seen the last of this last season. We were going to get a revamp, put other guys out to pasture and get rid of ones that we thought weren't doing it. We're actually worse off. And you're saying to yourself, it's not as if the board haven't put their hands in their pockets and created a bit of cash. But we've had no return at all. The only guy that we've seen anything for is Butland, and we didn't have an outlay on him. So you're looking at any player that we paid any money for at all. There isn't one that we've had a return on. Not one. I've just known nothing like it. And we said that last season. I'm sure the one that kept rambling on about it. This season's even worse. It's unheard of at our club to have that amount of injuries consistently, season after season, after bringing new guys in, and then they get crocked. I've just known nothing like it at all.
It's hard to argue with Jeff.
Aye, it is Blue Star. I think it's reflective of the fact that we've not been successful. We've not won anything in that period as well, and I think that all goes hand in hand. And I think the minute you start you start winning stuff, or you start at least getting to finals and start looking like a team that's challenging for the league. I think I'm not saying a lot of overnight Blue Star eradicate the injury list. You can't make Tom Lawrence better with a click of your fingers, but I often feel that the doctor's room becomes less busy all of a sudden. And I'm not for a minute saying that players are shirking, but listen, I think we all know that certain things are exaggerated a wee bit. And I'm no pointing the finger at any of our players in any way, shape or form. If you're injured, you're injured. But we do seem to be having, an unbelievable injury list again. And that's his biggest challenge. That's why I said that, Blue Star. I think that's right at this moment in time. I think that's Philip Clement's biggest challenge right now, is finding a solution and getting some of those injured players back fit and getting them on the starting sort of 16 or 18 players that are available for selection. And that's going to be his big job right in front of him.
Get him SSP, I'll be fit. We've been joined by Bob J. Evening, Bob J.
Evening, Hawks. How you doing, everyone? All right?
All right, mate.
That's fine, pal. I was having a discussion with a mate of mine today, sitting with the doggies, talking about Rangers, them and I, about the injury situation. But some of these injuries are so ongoing, it makes you think that the club could come to an agreement with some of these people and say, look, it's not happening, you're always injured, you're never playing. It seems like that to me anyway. Play one game and they're out for 5, not good enough. We've got to have a squad, as you say, a nucleus of about 15, 16 players that are ready to play every week. That's how you win on us. And we know. And as you say, Philip Clement's got this problem to address. So, by the way, I was pleased with the result yesterday and no 75% of the performance. And I think that's the general consensus of opinion.
I think you're right in both front. I'll let Jaffa come in. Jaffa.
As far as the result goes, Bob, I think the result was great last night. I'm delighted. As you probably know, I'm a glass half full kind of person anyway. So I was wanting all 3 points. I was like the manager, and jumping up and down like a maddie near the end of the game. But listen, I'm also realistic to realise that it was, they had a lot of chances, a lot of ball play. They had a lot of, as Ox said at the start of the show, they weren't peppering more goal, but they had a lot of opportunities to score and put, none less than the one right at the end. Overall, I think, a point's a good result in any game in Europe away from home. But and I think the manager deserves a lot of credit for it, because I think his tactics changed that game last night. I think he's got right in the inclusion of just pushing the players up 20 yards, 15, 20 yards. I think is what turned the game in our favour last night and really turned it into a game, and it made us look like a different team. So, but listen, I think I'm all in with the manager. I'm all behind him. I really like to cut his jib. I think he's got a big job ahead of him. Be interesting to see what January brings, as far as new personnel goes. But we've got a lot of football to play between now and January. We've got a lot of big games coming up. So, it's none more so than the game on Sunday against Hearts, Bob Joe.
Absolutely spot on. I think the man knows within his heart of hearts that this squad isn't good enough, but he's going to have to improve radically. We're going to get back in among the honours again. Yeah, we'll have a chance in the League Cup. Let's hope we can dust ourselves down and do it and go and lift the first trophy of the season. But overall, I think we're all agreed it's not quite good enough yet. But the man's just in the door. It's only 180 minutes under his belt. Give him a chance. Let him get to the transfer one day. Still in a good position, and you never know what can happen. I see the press was bailing into him today. Did you hear the line? Did any of you see the line of questioning with the press today?
Aye.
So I upset the boy. Aye.
Bob, you're going to have to listen to the first part of the show before you come on. We've had that to death.
Oh, you've had that discussion, right? Okay, pal. Okay.
We've had that to death.
Yes. Well, that's good then. I'm glad that he's noticed that.
We picked up on it. I'm no like Jaffer, Andy. I'm no a half glass full. I take my lead for you. My glass
By
is
the way,
always
can I ask?
empty.
Sorry to
Andy?
interrupt you.
Andy?
Well, I just stay at the same level, so you know what you're going to get. But I'm all in with this guy. I like him. I feel really sorry, as Blue said, for him, because I think he's got a real problem. You just had to take a swatch of his grouping last night when they panned on him and what he was seeing. That said it all. He'll get he'll get there as long as these players don't totally bang him over, and you can't guarantee that they won't. We've got ball fell, bit of good defending. Ball fell in a lot of good spots for us where they missed chances. It's great that we can say we took the point, because I think if we'd have lost an early goal there, I think they could have folded and it could have been a bad night for it. But we've taken the positives out of it. We've set ourselves up for next week. I think we can beat them at Ibrox. And then, we move on. But I wouldn't come out on Sunday and try and do what we did against Hibs. That, get them kind of scores back in Scotland. Let the teams know in Scotland that we're coming for you and we're going to roll over you like that. That brings a different confidence back in. And he's inherited a worse set of players and what Baylor inherited and because we had Baraffields and people like that. They got a better ton. These guys are, they're frighteningly bad. They're frighteningly, and I'm being good. But no, I just worry when you get the real hard games coming, the real hard nights in Scotland, thick and fast up to Christmas. Just hope they get up. I can't understand. Well, I can, because we know they're not good enough. But how can you not want to like that guy? That guy seems to want to win things. He seems to want everything he wants to go for. He wants to. He's buying into it with him.
Why don't you look at the stats since the previous manager left, and obviously with the Cyprus game, if you part that, but since then we've scored 7 goals and conceded none. Let's see what it takes us. Turn that frown upside down and go on this Philip.
Hey, listen. For 75 minutes of that game, I'm petrified. And that what I'm saying is, it's their players can gear that in any other game. I'm not banging it. Look, I know we've only lost 5 goals in the league, right? I'll tell you what, we're 7 points behind. It don't matter how many clean sheets we keep. If we don't get the job done and we don't win the games, this is why we're sitting 7 behind. And I'm not on about the manager. I'm on about the players that have got there. I don't trust them.
It's not the defending. I've been telling you for a while. And it's
the goal scorers.
We've not scored enough goals.
I'm inclined to agree with Andy. There's a way of addressing it up. You can say that the defence, we've got the best defensive record in the league. But Andy's right. We've lost 3 games. We'd lost 3 games out of 7. So, that's farcical. But the bottom line is, you look at it, it's nothing to do with this present manager. I'm 100% behind him. As I say, talk's cheap. The bottom line is, he's got to try and work with what he's got there. The mad thing is, and this is absolutely mind-blowing, and this is what frustrates the life out of me. I know that's one of the poorest sets of players I've seen in my lifetime, and I'm coming up in 63 in Christmas. I'm looking at that pool of players. Andy's 100% right. I don't trust any of them. I really don't. I think they've let so many managers down now. There's been too many there too long, and other ones just can't cut it. They shouldn't have. They're empty jerseys. But you look at it in the whole scale of things. We're still lying second in the league, and we're still in 4 competitions. Why? Simply because of the draws that we're playing against every week. And that's the bottom line, guys. You can't dress it up. We are one of the poorest teams that we've seen in Rangers in a long, long, long period of decades. We are dross. There's no other way of putting it. Most of the players, if we had money at our club, very, very few of them would even be there. And that's been kind. But as I started off by saying, if you look at the outlay that we've done over the last number of seasons, how many of the guys, you can't even count in one hand the amount of ones that we've had anything out of. That says it all. And that's nothing at all to do with injuries. That's even when they are fit. If you take away the injuries, who the players that are injured now walk into our team? You're struggling. Lawrence, we've had nothing out of for a year and a half. Danilo, we're banking our hopes on because we've seen nothing for him either. You're limited, Ox. You really are. We're scratching our head here.
You're making the same point again, mate. You're making the same point again, right? Just want to change the subject, and we'll turn our attention to the game on Sunday. Jaffer, I don't know when Bob Gier can come in after you. The statement for the club today about the kick-off change, moving the Motherwell game to 12 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Now, we all know that we've played games in the Christmas Eve in the past, but come on. You know, you've got to think of the paying punters and what goes on in people's lives. And then in the statement, they've said they asked for a kick-off just to be changed because of European time. I wonder how a team get accommodated by that earlier on this season against Motherwell. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it all around, Jaffa, but they asked for the Summum game to be moved, not to have an early kick-off. We weren't looked at nearer favourably. So let's hope the club keep banging the drum and we start getting more, taking them on at every opportunity because the game's rigged, Jaffa.
Well, that's a polite way of putting it, Ox. I think we all know that, and if you don't know that, then you're not looking in the right place because they've got control the fixture list. We know what's going on, Ox. The game it's been moved to Christmas Eve. I mean, just take that. Just think about what's going on in Christmas Eve. Transport and everything else is starting to wind down for the Christmas holidays. Public transport, trains, buses, moving a game at Fir Park to Christmas Eve. It means that we've also got 24 hours less for the rest of the families and the build up to the Old Firm game on the 30th. So it's just the dark arts again, Ox. And this is the bit that we need to be smarter as a club. There's a bigger picture here going on. We need the club to defend us and defend us as a fan base and as a population of people in central Scotland, where the minority of people are controlling the majority of people. And some of the decision making that's going on, and some of the things that are going on, and it's just another example. You know, in the same day, they've got a press conference near the other end of the city, and they're actually, it's like a mirror image. They're complaining about the very fact of the thing that's happening to us. They're actually complaining about it, saying they've been away 7 times. I don't even know what they're complaining about. I didn't even read it because I'm not really that interested in anything about them. But it's unbelievable, Ox, the nonsense that's going on. And then at the same time, we've got a press conference going on at Ibrox, and we've got a maniac asking stupid questions about what Graham Souness potentially said when he didn't say it. That didn't happen. The guy made it up. The journalist made it up, and that's the kind of stuff that's going on. And it's to destabilise us. And I really hope the club have a bigger plan of getting on top of this SFA and the SPFL and the nonsense that's going on. I was going to say Park Gardens there. There's a throwback to the past.
Yeah, sure. Maybe Graham Souness is coming in for that very, very thing. Bob, I don't know if you picked it up today about the fixtures change.
I did. I didn't know the whole story. I knew that Mr. Rogers had bumped his gums about something, about how they I don't know what was it actually about the amount of times they were away from home at the New Year. No.
I don't listen.
I'd heard something about it, Ox. I wasn't fully briefed up on it.
I don't listen.
I'll need coming on the show earlier next week. But no, I mean, you're right in what you're saying. There is an issue with Rangers. There's no two ways about it. I'll say it. There isn't. There always has been. There always will be an issue with Rangers. They're surely not asking people to come out on Christmas Eve at that time of year for to attend the game, are they?
Yes, 12 o'clock, Motherwell away.
Oh no! That's not. That's a family to the biggest time of the year, as we all can. It's to state the obvious. No, I just didn't pick up on that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But hey ho, I mean, we've been subject to decisions like that for years, and we'll probably just need to get on with it like we usually do. But it's got to be addressed. If they can moan about fixture congestion, so can we.
I'm just going to run something past Andy. Andy, I want to ask you some questions, yeah?
Well, I'll go on.
And all I want you to tell me if you think the guy's a legend or no, yeah? That's
Go
yes
on.
or no, yeah? All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite simple. Peter McCloy,
Yes,
Sandy Jardine,
definitely.
Sam Forsyth,
Yes,
Bobby Russell,
yes.
Colin
There's
Jackson.
something coming here. Just short of it.
All right, just short it. Derek Johnston.
Oh, where do you're at it, you, aren't you? Come on.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And we're going to ask you if these guys were the bad players. Ali Dawson.
Not bad, aye.
Colin McAdam.
So.
So better than Dessers. Nice guy, by the way, gentleman. You call him well.
Yeah.
Ian Redford. Okay.
Yeah, I like Redford.
Jim Bett.
Yeah, I liked him as well.
And a young Billy Mackay, who was a young boy. Yeah?
It's steady.
All right. John McDonald was a substitute, yeah?
Yeah, Solo, yeah, I liked him.
All right, so we got that team full of legends. That was the team that lost to Chesterfield, just like me.
I know, I was there.
All right.
I know. But
So
it was raining heavy that day.
Don't say it's the worst results in my history. Don't say it's the worst performance we've ever had, because it's not true, mate.
I've not said that, and I've not said nothing about performances.
Saying it. I'm saying in general. Let's put it in perspective. You know, put it in perspective.
Aye, but I'll give you a difference there, though. When they got beat, it'll hurt them. They don't hurt these ones that are there now.
No, the game.
I'll say that.
The game's changed.
I know it is, but I'm just saying my opinion from them guys, it would have hurt them. They don't hurt these guys when they get beat. There's the difference. That's all I'm saying.
As much as it hurt me. Right, so, Bostar, quickly before you go, all the injuries and all the things, you're picking the team on Sunday. What's your team?
Carr, Goldson, Suter, Red Van, midfield would need to be probably, gosh, who's fit? Raskin, Cantwell, Lundstrom, Seema, Danilo, and Wright, or whoever else is fit, but certainly no Dessers or Lammers. He's got to drop them. He has to. I guarantee if he starts with Dessers on Sunday, there will be a clamour, 100%. And I think my managers will know that as well. They've run their race. He's got to show authority and say, well, you're an empty jersey, you contributed nothing, and you've been contributing nothing. He's got to show it by authority.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. David, last word for your good self. Star, are you all right? I know you've been a bit rough. I take it by the sound of your voice. You're not out it yet.
No, mate. I had a chest infection. I get sent for an X-ray a couple of days ago. They gave me a high intensity, would you call it, antibiotic, but I've still got it, mate. So I
should
don't
have
know.
given me a shout. I think Jaffa to look at it. He's a chest expert.
38 double D.
Davey, last word.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Always is. I'm proud to come onto this show every time I speak to you guys. Regarding the teams, just quickly, I go with Jaffa's team. So a good night, guys, and God bless the Glasgow Rangers.
Cheers, David. Cheers. Let us know about when your golf day is, mate. Maybe do something, yeah?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Bob, J.
Aye, thanks for having me on again, Ox. Absolute pleasure as usual. Let's finish off a good week for the club. Beating the Hibs last week, getting that good result in Prague yesterday. And let's hopefully we can we can roll over the Hearts on Sunday and address rehearsal for the semi-final. So all the best for the weekend, guys, and I'll speak to you next week. Thank you.
Cheers, Bob. Blue Star.
Onwards and upwards, as I always say. We're all behind the manager, and as I say, we might not be playing the best, but we're still merely good enough for the rest in this league, as we've already showed. And so, just carry on winning. We are the people. Thanks, guys, for keeping the call.
Hope you feel better soon, Andy.
Yeah, pleasure to be on again, right enough, and hopefully we go out and perform, something like we did there last Saturday, was it? And I like the sound of Jaffa's team. That's a good team. So let's get it sorted on Sunday and we'll go forward again,
Are you sorting out the donations to get Mr. Kelly something?
Nothing. He's all right, but he's not that all right. He's banned me from my tunes.
Cheers, Andy. Jaffa.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Ox. Lovely show. Great chit chat about the Rangers and getting over the game, and looking forward to the weekend, Ox. It's remaining positive right behind the manager, and just on a personal note, Blue Star, I wish you well, pal. I hope you get back on your feet and get yourself all sorted out. Look after yourself.
Right, I've just had a quick update. We follow your Big Stevie's boys, Jamba. He's shown promise that they'll kick more bus take after his mother. He scored I've been told that it wasn't for his dad, for a better source than that. He scored a 30-yarder and a 3-2 win in the Scottish Cup for York on the right. So, well done, young Jamba. Well done, son.
Get in there.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, can I thank Blue Star, Old Davey, Bob Gia, and of course the one and only Andy for Leeds is always up for a good laugh. Thanks to Jaffa also. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Everybody for listening. Just remember, if you got a bit of change and all, we do everything for free, but this truly touched us. The young boy Ben Hood, who tragically lost his life to suicide. A sad story. If you got a few shekels, it's something. There is a connection with your club. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll be back on Sunday at 2:00. We'll be build up to a home win against the Hearts. Take it away, Old School Blue.